Oliver from Rugby League, in my opinion, here, and I'm joined today by a very special guest. He's none other than Wigan Warriors centre Oliver Gildart. How are you today, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Just chilling, really. Day off today, so just been out for breakfast. I'm going to play a bit of golf later, so yeah, pretty chill day for me.
Yeah, you're a big golf fan. I've noticed you do play golf a fair bit.
I try to play. I'm not brilliant, but no, I'm trying to get better. Some of the lads are pretty good, play a pretty good standard in my team, so I'm trying to compete with them.
Yeah, and you don't mind a bit of fishing either, I've noticed too.
Yeah, fishing's my go-to kind of hobby, really. That's something I've done from being a young kid, but I try and do a bit of golf as well now, and like I said, try and compete with the other boys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you've had plenty of downtime, I guess, to sort of get good at it, but you're getting back into the grind now, back into training. At the end of last year, against Tonga in that Great Britain tour, you did suffer an injury and had to get shoulder surgery. How's that all gone? It's obviously been a while now, but this has pretty much been a very long preseason for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really weird, mate. It's the worst injury I've had so far up till my career. So I kind of didn't, when I was on tour, I was around all the boys. Obviously, I knew I'd done my shoulder, but it was pretty positive. But yeah, the flight back from New Zealand wasn't the best. Really, kind of sunk in what I'd done, and I knew I was going to be out for a long time. So I literally flew back, got operated that week. Didn't really have an off season. Literally had probably a week off to recover, and I was straight back into pre-season with the other boys. But yeah, like you said, it's been a long time now, but it's been a bit of a weird one. I would have played probably 2 weeks into lockdown, and then obviously over in England we've been in lockdown for about 4 months. So with that, it's kind of pushed me back probably a few extra weeks because we've not had any gyms open, barely any gym equipment, physio treatment, stuff like that. So I've not been able to carry on with my rehab at the intensity I was doing when I was obviously training with Wigan. So a couple extra weeks, probably about another 4 weeks maybe. I just want to make sure I'm firing back. I want to be as fit as I was, as strong as I was. So yeah, we started back training at Wigan on the Monday last Monday. So getting back into the swing of things now, and yeah, hopefully shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, that's good. So you should be back well before the season's over, and get back
definitely
into it, which is great. Yeah, just on that Great Britain tour, I guess you got to play under the great Wayne Bennett. What's that like?
Oh yeah, Wayne's a legend. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Wayne. He obviously gave me my chance the year before with England, something that I didn't expect. I got drafted into the squad pretty late because Sam Burgess dropped out. So I just thought I was going to be there for just to kind of be a bit of a squad filling player. If anyone gets injured or kind of just learn a few things. But I ended up getting thrown straight in, which was amazing, to be fair. Something I didn't expect, so I kind of had to just react on the spot and go with it. But yeah, Wade spent a lot of time individually with me. He just filled me with so much confidence. I was pretty nervous before meeting him. Obviously, someone with the history Wayne has. So like I said, I was pretty nervous, but he just filled me full of confidence and got me in the right mindset to go out there and play.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Speaking, I guess, of sort of bigger names in the NRL world, at least, you've recently signed with a mega manager over here. I guess you could say former manager of Jonathan Thurston during his playing days, Sam Ayoub. How did that come about?
Yeah, I met Sam when I was on the tour in New Zealand. I met him in one of the hotels we stayed at. He just had a chat, nothing too much, just asking what my situation was. I did have an agent at the time, so we kind of just kept in contact, just a couple of WhatsApp messages here and there. And when my agreement ran out with my old agent, I decided to take up the offer with Sam. And he's a great bloke, as well as Liam as well, his son. Someone I've done quite a lot of phone calls with him and got to know him on a friendship level. So the two good blokes, and looking forward to working with them.
100%. Now, this has been reported a fair bit, not so much recently, but at least a couple of months ago, about a possible move to the NRL. Now, it's no secret, if you do sign with super manager Sammy Ayoub, generally the idea is to come and play in the NRL. So I'm not going to ask you if you've been talking to any clubs or anything, or go really into any of those rumours. What I want to ask is, how do you see the NRL? What would motivate you to go over and play in the NRL, I guess?
Yeah, it's the pinnacle of rugby league. Definitely, it's I've never shied away from the fact in saying that I want to go over there and test myself. I've said that from a young age is something I've always dreamed of doing. Something obviously as a young kid from Wigan, you do watch the NRL quite a lot, and I think most players over here will tell you that. So and obviously when I got to the level of playing international and playing against these types of players, I realised that's the next step, hopefully to do, and it's something I definitely would like to do, is go over there and test myself against the best.
That's awesome, man. Growing up, did you have an NRL team?
Yeah, I used to watch the Roosters. I know it's probably stereotypical, everyone's favourite team, but yeah, I used to watch the Roosters quite a bit, and I used to enjoy watching Manly back in the day. Used to love Jamie Lyon. So yeah, probably go with them two teams.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we move on now, I guess, more to your career specifically. You have a very good resume and you're still quite early into your career. You're a two-time Super League winner, a World Club Challenge winner with Wigan, and you guys are the last Super League team to have actually won the World Club Challenge to this point. In 2017, you were the Super League Young Player of the Year. I know it's going to be very hard, but can you pick like a favorite moment out of that? Or, you know what I mean? Like just some memories that sort of come up of those occasions, I guess, because as I said, you've still got a long way to go in your career, but you've already accomplished so much, at least in the Super League.
Yeah, it's a tough one, mate. Like you said, obviously my first grand final was a special one. Obviously being the first time to do it, and I managed to score in that game at the Wigan end in Old Trafford, which was, I can't really put into words how good that made me feel. But probably the second win meant more. I had some of my best friends leaving the club. Obviously John Bateman, Ryan Sutton, Sam Tompkins was leaving, and obviously Wayne. That was his final year at Wigan. So the lead up, the last 6 weeks to that season, we kind of built a little story between us, and it's something I'll live with forever. So that was pretty special. And again, obviously the World Cup Challenge, it means so much to people in Wigan especially. And my dad managed to win that back when he played. So I think we was the first father and son to win a World Cup Challenge, which is a pretty cool accolade. So yeah, probably I've got to go with probably the second grand final win. Was if I had to pick one, that would be up there.
Awesome, man. Well, you did bring up your dad, Ian Gildart, who was a very well-known player over in England. Played many games for the Wigan Warriors. What was it like growing up sort of as Ian Gildart's son, at least in terms of rugby league? Did he sort of push you hard, I guess, to get to the level that he was at? What was it like having a former player as a dad growing up?
Yeah, it's a strange one, really. You'd think, stereotypically you get pushed from your dad, and
Yeah,
he's really strict on you. He was strict on me, but from a young age, I always played football, and it was kind of my brother. He started playing at an amateur club down St Pat's, and I just kind of went down one session, kind of joined in, and then ended up going with my own age group. And it come to a stage where I was playing football on Saturday, rugby on Sunday. Like it come to a stage where I kind of had to choose one. And then I chose rugby. My dad coached me up until basically I left school, signed with Wigan, and then he kind of just took a step back, let obviously the Wigan staff take over, and obviously now he just really enjoys watching me play and just sitting in the stands. We always, every time I finish a game, I'll call him on the way home, and we'll do a little bit of a debrief and how he thinks I've gone and stuff like that. But yeah, it's perfect scenario for me, really. Having my dad, he's been there and done it, so it definitely helps out a lot. There was a bit of pressure when I was a young kid coming through, kind of, you are kind of living under your dad's name. Are you going to be, are you going to even make it professional was, the first task. But yeah, we have a little bit of a competition now. I've scored more tries than him already. So yeah, just little things like that. And, hopefully I can win a few more trophies in it.
that's really good, man. Well, you bring up football as well, which to the Aussie viewers over here, we call it soccer. Personally,
Soccer,
I call
yeah,
it I call it football.
yeah.
Who do you support? Are you Wigan Athletic?
Yeah, so Wigan Athletic was obviously my local team growing up. I used to go watching them as a kid with my granddad. But kind of like Man United is the team I really follow. Obviously, a couple of like my idols growing up: David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, players like that. So yeah, I've always followed Man United, but I do support Wigan Athletic. I obviously I hope they do really well, but my main team I would say is Man United.
That's a shame to hear because I'm a Liverpool fan. Oh,
Ooh, I
I mean,
didn't like you before this.
well, I'll tell you what, next season I'm tipping Bruno Fernandes at least to win Premier League Player of the Season. He's been so good for United. They weren't looking too amazing, I guess, once the league came back from lockdown, but they've ended up finishing in the top four and securing a Champions League spot. So you must be pretty happy with them for doing that.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be fair. I knew he was a decent player, but I didn't think he'd have an impact on the team like he has done. He's kind of brought all the other players on as well, which is good to see. It's been like really enjoying watching him play at the minute. They're playing some good football. So, like I said, with the Champions League spot now, hopefully we can get some big name signings and just add a bit of value to the team.
Yeah, and on Wigan Athletic, we brought them up before. There's been talks that the Warriors are actually going to buy the club. Do you know anything about this? Is this confirmed or?
No, mate, it's not. It's not confirmed. I think it's just a bit of rumours. I think there is
Yeah.
some, stuff behind it. I think our chairman has gone in, but I kind of just seen it in the press on Twitter. On Twitter, I read it. So I think it is a genuine option what the club might do, but up until now, I've not heard anything really.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get onto Offload, the podcast that
Yep,
you run. It's an amazing podcast. You've got 3 episodes out so far. One with your teammate Liam Marshall, your other teammate Zach Hardacre, who a lot of Aussie fans will know from his time at Penrith, and Mike Grundy, the UFC fighter who fought the other night. Unfortunately, didn't get the win and the decision there. I just want to know, how did Offload come about? Because it's a really unique podcast too. I like to watch the YouTube version because it's you guys it's the Olive Garden Standish
yep.
restaurant. And it's a really good aesthetic, and it's empty. It's just you and the person you're interviewing. It seems real intimate. How did that come about? How did you start the podcast? Where did the motivation for that come from? And how did you get the gig, being able to host it at that restaurant?
Yeah, so probably kind of a year too late with a podcast. It's something I've spoke about with one of my best friends, Josh Parr. We both love our podcasts, and everyone listens to Joe Rogan, which is the main guy I kind of watch and kind of take a bit of inspiration from. But yeah, I've just always liked the idea of how they work, and getting stories out of people, and just letting people have a voice. What people might not, they might have a certain opinion of this player or this person, and then hopefully when you listen to a podcast, it changes your opinion if it's negative or positively. So yeah, we had a bit of a talk. My friend Josh is a bit of a computer whiz kind of thing, so he loves that kind of stuff. It's kind of his job as well. And he just said, right, let's get it going. So we kind of got the idea, come up with the name, which kind of goes with obviously the offload kind of style in rugby league, but for me
Yeah.
more it's people coming on and offloading their stories. So that's where the name came from. And Olive Garden he's a good friend of mine now. He obviously owns an Italian restaurant in Wigan, which he looks after the boys. He's always been a real good friend to me and helped us out with putting feeds on for the boys. So we kind of just come to him and said, look, we've got an idea with with the podcast, sorry, and kind of put it to him how we want it to come across, and he loved it. He
Yeah.
jumped on board and he said, look, why don't you host it here? It's obviously good publicity for his business, and it's something he enjoys as well. So kind of all just come together pretty nicely, really.
Awesome. Now, I know you said that the whole current COVID situation has made it a bit hard to record episodes. Do you have any in the pipeline, though? Are there any coming out? Any guests that you've sort of got coming down the line, or is that on hold for the moment?
We should be good to get things back up going now. Obviously, I'm back in training at the minute, so it's just trying to find the right time for the guests as well. But yeah, I have a woman who's going to come on called Marilyn Okoro. She is an Olympic runner think her event is the 400 or the 800. So she trains in Wigan at the minute, so she'll be a great person to get on something. Again, I love is the athletic side, and yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking about her journey so far. So that's another one we got in pipeline. There's a boxer called James Moorcroft, who's from Wigan, in Henley, a place where I'm from. He's a professional boxer now, so we're looking to get him on at the minute. He just suffered his first loss as well, which will be interesting. Same with Mike. We said to Mike, we'll be getting back on the podcast. Win or lose, he was going to come back on, but I think it makes it more interesting now, the fact he did suffer that loss. How he's going to deal with that. And so I'm looking forward to getting back on and seeing his thoughts on the whole Fight Island, because it's something I love as well as the UFC. So yeah, it's just good. I'm pretty lucky with Wigan. There's quite a lot of people who are really successful within sports, and it's lucky I just have access to these kind of people and I can get them in and get their story out there.
Yeah, well, just on, I guess, Wigan and sports in general, at least over here, we hear a lot that Wigan is a rugby league town. Would you say that it is, or would you say that it's sort of shared with the other sports, I guess, in the area? What would you define Wigan as in terms of sport?
Yeah, I think most people would say it's a rugby town. Obviously, the previous Wigan teams back in the day where my dad played, and before that was very successful and kind of was the unbeatable. So I think Wigan as a town kind of lives off that. But like you said, we obviously have a Wigan Athletic football team who's been in the Premier League and been very successful. And like I said, with these other athletes who people may not know about, might not be their sport, but there's definitely a lot of successful people who do come from Wigan. So yeah, it's only a little town, but we do get quite a lot of quality stuff what comes through it, and it's great to see.
Oh, definitely, man. Well, look, that's all I really had to say. I want to thank you so much for coming on. As you guys can see just below, if you want to find Oliver on Instagram or on Twitter, his socials are there, and also all the socials for the Offload podcast. I really, really suggest that you go and listen to the past episodes because they are absolutely awesome. I'll put the links down below in the YouTube video. But Oliver, thank you so much for giving your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all, mate. Thanks for having me on.
See you later, guys.